beer. One of my favorite things on planet Earth, and one of the most popular things on planet Earth, aside from probably soccer, music, and food. It's got to be one of the most popular things that we have on this universe, all over the Americas, Europe, Asia. It's huge, and I love it, but surprisingly not a lot of people know or have any interest on how to make it. You would think making beer at home would be much more popular, but once you understand the reality of it, you're gonna get it. The systems can get expensive, there's a lot of patience. Sometimes you're not drinking a beer for 1 or 2 weeks, maybe even longer, and it takes up space. The one thing I could probably compare homebrewing to, or just all around fermentation, is having a garden, being a green thumber. There's no instant yield. A lot of things can go wrong. And if you have a bad experience your first time around, you're probably going to quit forever. So for this video, I want to go down memory lane. The ghost of homebrew past. It's Christmas time and I hope everybody is doing well. And there's a lot of things I wish I knew now when I started out brewing 9 years ago. And you could save an insane amount of time, money, possible injury, how to find value in stuff. That's very important. When to pick and choose your DIY stuff. I have friends whose wives make bread at home. They'll give up 6 hours of their weekend to make bread. Bread? No. Go to the store, any store, buy bread for $3.99. That's how you get bread. Just kind of want to go through some stuff over the years. There's a lot of gimmicky products, instant beer stuff. Stay away from this stuff. Usually my videos are bam, bam, Archer style. But today we're just going to chill out. We're going to talk about my first system. And I found the exact date. January 10th, 2015. Time flies. And I bought a kit for $200 at the Homebrew store next to Mother Earth and Vista. If you've heard of the beer Cali Creamin', you've heard of Mother Earth. They moved to Idaho in 2016, and it didn't make sense to me at the time, but now it definitely does. And their beer, Cali Creamin', tastes a lot like cream soda. And there's gonna be somebody in the comment section that's, oh, it's not real beer, it's not even real beer. And I know this by now. If there's someone running around saying this isn't real beer, whatever they're talking about is probably wildly successful. Anyways, I would hang out at this brewery and the homebrew shop all the time. And thank God my friend Chris helped me out to get this kit going. And it was just the extract days with glass fermenters, which I always hated. I never liked glass carboys. But I do have 2 exceptions. If you've been brewing with them forever, you've been doing it for a long time, just go for it. You're aging mead, you're aging your beer. I know the old school people age their stuff for a lot longer. Keep doing it. Or if it's the smaller 1 gallon glass stuff, you know, to make mead or your cold brew, that's fine. But I just wouldn't start with the glass fermenter. And I'm kind of glad I've seen the glass fermenters get pushed away. And if there's one thing I've noticed, whether brewing or just a consumer, over the last decade, a lot of stuff changes. Beer trends, methods, old wives' tales getting debunked. But some people just stay with what they learned 10 years ago. And some people are constantly changing. And that's all fine from homebrewers, but that's difficult for commercial brewers. And what I know now is that the best part of being a home brewer by far is that we don't have to sell our beer. Making beer and selling beer don't even run parallel with me anymore. If you have a desirable hangout, you could sell anything. The desirable hangout, you know, it's all branding and hospitality. There's exceptions to the rules, but what I see working, it's all pretty much hospitality at this point. And thank God that home brewers don't have to deal with any of this stuff. I'm not shitting on brewery owners. There's breweries out there that inspire me, but I know there's a lot of breweries going out of business. And I'm grateful for anybody that took the chance to open up a brewery because it gave me and people like me places to hang out and have good times at. But this trying to, you know, tell yourself that your homebrew is going to sell itself and we're going to start a business on the fly. It wasn't for everybody, and it sure as hell wasn't for me. Be glad that homebrewers don't have to sell beer. Just because you can make food at home doesn't necessarily mean you know how to run a restaurant. But back to the equipment and put Mother Earth on your radar. They're awesome. So from these days, which is like 3 or 4 houses ago, started doing all grain. All grain. I'm a wizard. Nobody can brew like us. Making our own mash tuns, see what you got laying around the house, got some extra valves, bazookas, and realistically what to DIY. Kegerators and keezers for sure. That's probably the best thing to DIY. When you think of DIY, you got to save both time and money. You know, I'm not going to waste 6 hours of my Saturday to save $25. That's not DIY to me. Kegels, cutting kegels for sure. Stay away from the welded stuff. It's more expensive. But I did love DIY because there was a lot of new companies that preyed on newcomers, like a 5-gallon fermenter that would have 3 or 4 wheels on it, and it would make you feel like a pro brewer. And first off, pro brewer to me is a ridiculous word. Anybody who makes money is a pro. You know, pro gas station attendant, or pro bathroom attendant, or pro chef, or pro barback, or pro bartender. Pro should be used for millionaire athletes, in my opinion. But, you know, or say pro. Live your life. Pro scumbag YouTuber. If it's 5 gallons, just pick it up. You don't need wheels. I thought people that brewed 5 gallons that had pumps just to transfer a rack were ridiculous. Just pick it up. Your only pump should be to recirculate. Unless you're brewing stuff you can't pick up. If I had a 10-gallon batch, maybe a 15-gallon batch, or it might have been 1 or 2 in there, I just put it on a skateboard and just wheel it around my house and, you know, step on the back of the skateboard to lift it up over shit. And then the electric system got big during the kettle sour era, probably 2018, and every brand hit me up except for Grainfather, which is funny because the first time we brewed on that, I broke it. I got water and the LED part, so I was pretty much just anti-electric system at that point. Like, I'm not gonna spend $1,000 on something that I just broke first time using. Whatever, $1,000, $2,000 system. And then COVID hit and we were brewing a lot and it was just kind of whatever. I was still anti-electric. And this was the best time because it was COVID. We had all this free time. We were just partying and we could drink everything that day or that weekend. I remember I loved using that Anvil bucket. And, you know, beer's like food. Oxygen and sunlight are the enemy. But the Anvil bucket, it wasn't an airtight transfer, but it didn't have to be because we drank the beer so fast. But now it's different. A 5-gallon batch needs to be preserved better because it doesn't get drinking as nearly as fast as the beers did in San Diego. And I finally had done some back and forth with Emmett from Clawhammer, and I was like, can I get the kettle with the spigot and the tri-clamp? I just don't want to do anything with electricity. And I remember when I moved from Knoxville to San Diego, I had an electric stove, which I hated. I had always had gas stoves in San Diego, and it was the best. It was just like a natural gas burner. And in Knoxville, it's too cold during the winter to brew outside, so I had to brew inside. So I got a turnkey 10-gallon, 120-volt system from Clawhammer, and it was awesome. It was brew in a bag, single vessel, and I liked how the electric components weren't on or near the metal or the hot liquid or the cool liquid or whatever wort was in there, and I could just keep it away. You know, my only problem was that I never built like a custom table for it, or like a chair, like a big electric chair, maybe with some wheels. And the recirculation was by far better than the electric systems I had ever used before. And I was late to the plate chiller game. I'm never using wort chillers ever again. I was like the ice guy, you know, how to chill your wort the fastest. Never again. Plate chillers for life. And shout out to Alias for that trick with the underwater pump. Chill your wort with groundwater, and then when it caps out, then throw some ice in there, and then you can knock it out to, you know, damn near 60 degrees in 5 or 10 minutes. No question that's the best way to chill. And I never had a problem with the system so far. And I can never really go back to the DIY stuff. I remember having a burner with my kettle on it, and then on top of that I had like an oven rack, and then on top of that I had a mash tun or something, and I was just manually Vorloffing. I ain't never going back to that. And now I'm 40 in 2 weeks, and it takes longer to drink beer, so I need to have everything preserved better. So everything gets fermented in a keg. The only time it's seeing oxygen is when I'm going to pour it into a glass. And I've actually got the Clawhammer keg fermenter with the floating dip tube and the spunning valve, and it's awesome. It's easy to clean. There's a lot of bells and whistles that come with it that are optional, and I'll leave the links to those in the description as well. I'll actually link one of Clawhammer's dedicated videos on their fermenter in that bottom as well. And I talked earlier about finding value. In the Clawhammer system, I believe it's $1,000, you know, so you got to look at other 10-gallon, 120-volt systems, or if they're $500 more, they're $1,000 more. You got to think, where is the value? You know, beer is branding. Now it's not branding anymore. Now I need that, you know, that Japanese 2.4 liter engine Tacoma. Take away the Toyota Tacoma part, but you know what I'm talking about. It's not branding anymore. I need this to work for the price. And if something's more, I need to know why. So always kind of think of the value and think about back to the fermenters. Do you need a $700 5-gallon fermenter? I don't. Check out some links. I had a good time making this video, man. Quick little video before Christmas time, before the year's over. Hope everyone's doing good. Happy holidays.